You have to wonder sometimes, what does true greatness actually look like? Is it really about having the loudest voice or the biggest platform? Or maybe, just maybe, it's found somewhere quieter, in acts nobody sees.
Yeah.
Kind of the opposite of what we usually chase after. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We try to cut through the noise and find those potent insights. Today, we're exploring some really fascinating sources, ancient scriptures, a modern reflection, a classic devotional piece. And they all seem to challenge our ideas about power, influence, even fulfillment. Our mission, really, is to unpack how humility and genuine service, well, how they might be the real path to a different kind of reward, a different legacy. We'll be looking at the Psalms, the story of Ruth, and some pretty direct teachings from the Gospel of Matthew.
It's definitely an exploration into, well, a paradox, isn't it? The path to real significance often seems to point in directions we instinctively, maybe culturally shy away from. But these sources, even though they span millennia, they have this remarkably consistent message about where true influence really lies.
Okay, let's dive in. There's this startling warning from Jesus in Matthew 23, verses 1 to 12. He really goes after the scribes and Pharisees. And it's more than just calling out hypocrisy, right? It feels like he's dissecting this trap of needing external validation.
Mm-hmm.
He says they preach, but they do not practice. That's pretty direct.
It is, and it gets deeper.
Yeah, like when he says they tie up heavy burdens hard to carry for others, but will not lift a finger to move them. It makes you think of, I don't know, leaders today who pile on work but aren't really in the trenches.
Exactly. It's a timeless issue.
Yeah.
And the core problem isn't just what they do, but why they do it. The motivation is off. And what's really interesting there, beyond just the critique, is the cultural context. Those titles, rabbi, father, master, they weren't just labels. They signified real social standing, a hierarchy.
Authority.
Precisely. And Jesus points out they did all their works to be seen. They wanted the places of honor at banquets, the best seats of honor in synagogues, the public greetings. It wasn't about the actual service or the sacred duty. It was performance.
Performative spirituality.
That's a good way to put it.
And the insight there is that seeking validation from others,
Yeah.
well, it kind of taints the action itself, doesn't it? It makes it less authentic.
And Jesus doesn't stop at criticism. He gives his own disciples this radical instruction. It completely flips the script on power. He tells them, do not be called rabbi. Call no one on earth your father. Do not be called master. He's stripping away all those status symbols.
Systematically dismantling that structure for them.
Yeah. And then he delivers the core message. The greatest among you must be your servant. Wow. I mean, what does that really mean for us today? When we think about who gets elevated, it still feels revolutionary.
It's a massive reorientation. It challenges the systems that feed our pride.
Yeah.
And it all builds towards that famous line. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted.
Right, the great reversal. But it's not just a simple transaction like, do this, get that. It's more complex. Does someone pursue humility so they can be exalted later? Or is the exaltation just a natural, maybe unexpected consequence of being genuinely humble and selfless?
That really makes you think about the intention, doesn't it?
Exactly. The why behind the what.
And this idea of an internal shift, this humble heart, it connects beautifully with Psalm 51.19. The sacrifice acceptable to God is a contrite spirit. A contrite and humbled heart, O God, you will not spurn. It makes it so clear that what matters isn't the big outward show, but the genuine state of your heart, your inner condition. It's totally inside out.
And that inner condition, that contrite spirit, it isn't passive. It leads us nicely into a more contemporary piece, a reflection on authentic living. This source offers a really interesting take. It suggests true humility isn't about thinking less of yourself, but thinking less about yourself. It reframes it.
That's a powerful distinction.
It does. It frames humility not as putting yourself down, but as shifting your focus, deliberately moving away from ego and aligning yourself with serving others genuinely.
What I found really striking in that reflection piece is how it pushes past the external stuff. It contrasts true greatness, defined as serving others sincerely, with just chasing titles or recognition. And it really zeroes in on performative leadership. It says something like, the gravest danger is the seductive lure of the stage.
Yeah, that's sure.
It highlights how easily being an example can just become a performance for applause instead of having real impact. It's a call for integrity, leading by example for real.
That's such a crucial difference. And this internal drive, this desire to serve, is captured beautifully in another source, a classic devotional text, the prayer for humble service. It's not just wishing for humility, it's actively asking for a humble heart that seeks to serve rather than be served.
An active plea.
Yes, it's about embracing that interchange. When our hearts genuinely want to serve, our actions start to point to something bigger than ourselves. We glorify, not through self-promotion, but through that quiet, consistent practice of humble service. It shifts your whole center of gravity, really.
Okay, so to make these ideas less abstract, let's look at a story where this plays out. The story of Ruth. It's in Ruth chapter 2 and chapter 4. For anyone familiar with it, it's just such a powerful example of how things can turn out unexpectedly.
Absolutely. A classic.
You have Ruth, a Moabite woman, a foreigner, a widow, in a strange land. She doesn't demand anything. She just asks, very simply, let me go and glean ears of grain in the field of anyone who will allow me that favor.
It's such a humble request. Born from need, yes, but also shows this quiet dignity. And then when she encounters Boaz, the landowner, the relative, his kindness surprises her. Her reaction is immediate, casting herself prostrate upon the ground. Why should I, a foreigner, be favored with your notice?
Yeah, it's not false modesty, is it? It feels like genuine shock and gratitude.
Exactly. In that culture, status and family were everything. Her acknowledging her outsider status, not as something to fight against with pride, but as a reason for her humility, it actually makes Boaz's kindness seem even more significant.
It shows real self-awareness.
Deep reverence, really.
And Boaz's reply gets right to the heart of why he respects her. He says, I have had a complete account of what you have done for your mother-in-law after your husband's death.
The reports preceded her.
Right. You have left your father and your mother and the land of your birth and have come to a people whom you did not know previously. That's the key, isn't it? It wasn't her words or her status. It was her actions, her consistent, selfless loyalty to Naomi.
Actions speaking louder than words.
Absolutely. Her quiet dedication shouted volumes in a world that often valued loud claims.
And the outcome is just.
Wow.
Well, it's remarkable. Even subversive, you could say. This foreigner, this widow gleaning fields, ends up being taken as Boaz's wife because of her character, her integrity.
And then the lineage.
Yes. From their marriage comes Obed, who becomes the father of Jesse, the father of David. For anyone who knows the larger story, that's huge. It shows how humble, genuine service, even from society's margins, can completely change destiny. It links right into the most significant family line.
It's that principle again. Whoever humbles himself will be exalted, played out right there in history.
In the most tangible way imaginable.
And what the community says about her value to Naomi. It's just astonishing for that time. They tell Naomi, she is worth more to you than 7 sons.
Incredible statement.
In a culture that valued sons above almost everything, he just drives home that true worth isn't about status symbols. It's about that loyal, serving heart.
Which brings us perfectly to responsorial Psalm 128. It captures this idea of the blessings of a reverent heart. It starts, see how the Lord blesses those who fear him. Now, it's important here to understand fearing the Lord.
Yeah, it's not about being scared, right?
Yeah, not literal terror, no. It's more about deep reverence, awe, respect. A deliberate choice to live according to his ways. It implies recognizing a higher authority than yourself, which connects back to humility and service.
And the psalm paints a picture of the blessings that follow that path. Very concrete blessings. You shall eat the fruit of your handiwork. Blessed shall you be and favored. That sounds pretty good.
It does. Prosperity, security.
And then it talks about family. A wife like a fruitful vine at home. Children like olive plants around your table.
These aren't just vague spiritual feelings. They're tangible signs of a flourishing, favored life. It's like a divine response to that humble, principled way of living.
So these blessings, the prosperity, the family, the favor, they really connect back to what Jesus said in Matthew.
Absolutely. Whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Ruth's story is the perfect illustration. She wasn't manipulating things to get these blessings. They flowed naturally, almost as unexpected rewards from her humble, reverent service.
It suggests living this way often brings its own kind of abundance. Maybe not the kind the world always chases, but real abundance.
A different kind of wealth.
And then, just to tie it all together, the Alleluia verse, also from Matthew 23, puts it so simply. You have but one Father in heaven. You have but one Master, the Christ.
Powerful anchor point.
It really is. It pulls the focus right off earthly titles, self-promotion, all that striving for human approval.
And points us back to the single ultimate source of authority and worth.
Grounding us again in humble service, connected to that higher purpose. True greatness is serving, not being served.
That's the core message running through all these texts.
Okay, so after exploring all this,
Yeah.
what does it mean for you, listening right now, in your actual life? One of our sources, an essay on ethical leadership, asks a very practical question. How can I show humility in my family or community today without seeking recognition?
And that's where it gets real, doesn't it? It's not about the grand gestures necessarily.
Right. Daily choices.
It pushes us to think about the difference between, performing for praise, those places of honor Jesus warned about, and actually serving from the heart. True humility, like we saw with Ruth, isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's not about making yourself small.
It's thinking less about yourself.
Exactly. It's about orienting your actions toward others, toward a higher purpose. Understanding your worth comes from your character, from inside, not from what people say about you.
Choosing integrity over applause.
That's it.
So the challenge for you, maybe, is to think about those small, unseen acts of service, the things nobody applauds. Like Ruth gleaning in the field. What quiet act could you do today? At home, at work, in your neighborhood, an act that aligns what you say with what you do. Avoiding that hypocrisy Jesus called out. It might not get you a title or an award, but these sources suggest its impact, its quiet power, could be immense.
Absolutely. These texts, Matthew's critique, the reflection on authenticity, the prayer for service, Ruth's incredible story, the Psalms' blessings, they all point the same way. The path to real influence, real contentment, it often runs against the grain of the world. It's found in that contrite and humbled heart, in serving others sincerely, in genuine, selfless devotion, not in promoting yourself.
Indeed. So here's a final thought to take with you. If the greatest among us truly is the servant, and if that humbled heart is never turned away, what uncelebrated act of service could you offer today? Something small, maybe. Something that in its quiet way might ripple out and create a legacy far bigger than any title or recognition ever could. What tiny seed of service might just blossom into something extraordinary? Something to think about. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.